Welcome to our deep dive. We're focusing on something pretty interesting, the Certified Business Continuity Lead Auditor Certification.
CBCLA.
Yeah, CBCLA. We're going to explore why it's so valuable, especially in Eastern Europe and Ukraine.
Right.
We've got a great guide today, an article by Irina Levchenko that really highlights how powerful this certification can be.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? It's not just a piece of paper or anything. The CBCLA can help organizations achieve a pretty prestigious designation.
Oh.
The Resilient Enterprise designation from the Disaster Recovery Institute International.
The DRI.
Yes, DRI.
That's right. And that designation is no small feat. It's a gold standard in the business continuity world.
Absolutely.
Especially for organizations considered EU critical infrastructure.
Right.
Like financial institutions, for example. But before we get ahead of ourselves, what exactly is a resilient enterprise?
Good question.
What makes it so crucial in these regions? We're talking about like Eastern Europe and Ukraine.
Well, imagine a tree bending with the wind instead of snapping in half.
Okay.
That's kind of what a resilient enterprise is all about.
Interesting.
It's an organization that can withstand shocks and disruptions,
Right.
but it can also adapt and keep functioning even when facing really tough challenges.
Yeah.
And let's face it, the reality in Eastern Europe and Ukraine right now
Yeah.
is that geopolitical risks
Uh-huh.
and potential disruptions are incredibly high.
Right.
Resilience isn't just a good idea there.
Yeah.
It's a necessity.
It makes you realize how important it is to be prepared
Oh,
for
absolutely.
anything.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the CBCLA itself.
Okay.
The article outlines 9 key benefits,
9.
and I'm eager to unpack those with you.
Yeah, let's do it.
The first one that jumps out at me is this idea of deep understanding of business continuity principles.
Okay.
What does that mean, practically speaking?
It means going beyond checking boxes, just for compliance. The CBCLA equips auditors with a deep understanding of why we do resilience strategies.
Okay.
They learn BCM frameworks, they dive into standards like ISO 29301, and really grasp risk assessment and mitigation.
So it's like having a blueprint for building resilience. That makes sense.
And it allows them to really tailor solutions to an organization's specific needs.
Okay, so it's about moving beyond a surface-level understanding to actually being able to analyze and apply these principles.
Exactly.
What about that second benefit, enhanced audit competence?
Okay.
How does the CBCLA actually enhance those auditing skills?
It's like the difference between reading a book about detective work versus actually going through detective training.
Interesting.
CBCLA training goes beyond theory, focusing on practical application. These auditors are trained to spot vulnerabilities that others might miss.
Wow.
They can conduct thorough, objective audits of the entire business continuity management program, and then offer actionable recommendations for improvement.
So they're like resilience detectives,
Yes.
uncovering weaknesses and providing solutions.
Exactly.
That leads us to the third benefit, ensuring compliance and alignment.
Right.
With something as rigorous as the Resilient Enterprise designation aligning with standards must be critical.
Oh, absolutely. You're right on.
Yeah.
To earn that designation, an organization has to adhere to incredibly strict standards.
I see.
And that's where a CBCLA certified auditor really shines.
Okay.
They are experts at analyzing policies, procedures, documentation, you name it.
Right.
Benchmarking them against global standards and regulations.
Like ISO 22301.
Like ISO 22301, exactly.
Okay.
They can spot any gaps or inconsistencies and advise on corrective actions.
So they're not just pointing out problems.
No.
They're guiding the organization toward actually achieving these high standards.
Exactly. They play a key role in making sure the organization's audit program aligns perfectly with the criteria for accreditation.
That makes a lot of sense.
And that brings us to the fourth benefit, which focuses on promoting continuous improvement. It highlights this idea that resilience is an ongoing journey.
You can't just become resilient and be done right.
Right.
You need to constantly adapt and evolve.
You hit the nail on the head.
Okay, good.
Resilience is not a destination.
Yeah.
It's a continuous process.
Okay.
Monitoring, improving, adapting. And the CBCLA certification really emphasizes that.
I see.
It equips auditors to integrate feedback loops into their audit process.
Interesting.
So they can adjust their methodologies as risks evolve
Okay.
and organizations change.
So they're always looking for ways to make things better,
Yeah,
to stay ahead of the curve.
exactly.
That's
Yeah.
impressive.
It's all about continuous improvement.
The fifth benefit, Strengthening stakeholder confidence.
Okay.
That one caught my eye.
Yeah.
Why is that so important in this context?
Well, let's face it, sometimes audits get a bad rap.
Yeah.
People might see them as just another bureaucratic hurdle to jump over.
Right.
But when an audit is conducted by a CBCLA certified professional, it changes the whole perception.
Really?
It becomes less about checking boxes and more about demonstrating a real commitment to resilience.
Okay, so you're shifting the mindset
Exactly.
from compliance to a strategic initiative.
Yes.
That seems like it would resonate with everyone involved.
Absolutely. Having a CBCLA certified auditor brings a level of credibility and professionalism to the entire process. It shows regulators, clients, senior leadership, and even internal teams that the organization is serious about resilience.
Right.
They're taking proactive steps
Yeah.
to ensure it.
That would definitely build trust and confidence across the board.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on to the 6th benefit.
Okay.
Fostering collaboration across departments. Achieving true resilience takes a unified effort, I imagine.
It does.
How does the CBCLA help with that?
It's all about breaking down silos.
Okay.
A CBCLA certified auditor is trained to facilitate communication and collaboration between different departments.
So everyone's working together.
Yes, towards those shared resilience objectives. They help bridge the gaps between various stakeholders, so the organization moves forward as one cohesive unit.
So they're acting as facilitators,
Yes,
bringing everyone together under this umbrella of resilience.
that's a great way to put it.
That makes a lot of sense, especially when you're aiming for something as comprehensive as the Resilient Enterprise designation.
Absolutely. It's about ensuring that everyone is on the same page. And that the audit program itself supports that unified effort
Yeah.
towards building that resilient organization.
Okay, and speaking of tools and techniques,
Yeah.
let's dive into the 7th benefit. Empowering your team with advanced tools and techniques.
Okay.
What kind of tools and techniques are we talking about here?
This is where it gets really practical.
Okay.
CBCLA certification introduces auditors to a whole arsenal of advanced auditing tools, templates, methodologies.
Wow.
These resources help them conduct precise gap analyses, develop comprehensive audit reports, and even leverage data analytics to make more informed decisions.
So it's like giving them some
Yeah.
high-tech toolkit
Yeah.
for resilience.
Exactly.
So they're not just relying on knowledge and experience.
Right.
They're using cutting-edge tools to make their audits even more effective.
Precisely. And that ultimately contributes to a more robust and effective approach to resilience for the entire organization.
Makes sense. That leads us to the 8th benefit.
Okay.
Building a resilience-focused audit culture. That sounds like a pretty profound shift in mindset for an organization.
It is.
What does a resilience-focused audit culture actually look like?
It's a culture where resilience isn't just an afterthought.
Right.
It's a core value woven into the fabric of everything the organization does.
So it's about changing the way people think about resilience.
Yes.
Making it a natural part of the organizational culture.
Exactly. And the CBCLA certification encourages that kind of cultural transformation.
That's a pretty big deal.
It helps ensure that audits are seen not as a burden, but as valuable strategic initiatives that can actually drive organizational improvement.
Strengthen crisis readiness
Yeah.
and enhance overall operational resilience.
So it's much more proactive and engaged.
Exactly.
Finally, we come to the 9th benefit.
Okay, the last one.
Expanding professional networks and resources.
Yes.
That sounds like a valuable perk for any professional.
It's more than a perk. It's a game changer.
Oh.
When you become CBCLA certified,
Yeah.
you gain access to a global network of business continuity and resilience experts.
Wow.
It's like tapping into this vast well of knowledge and experience.
So it's about continuous learning and growth.
Absolutely.
Connecting with others who are passionate about resilience.
It is. This network provides opportunities to learn from peers, access case studies and benchmarks, and stay up to date on the latest best practices.
That's incredible.
It's essential for any professional who wants to stay ahead of the curve in this field.
It's amazing to see how the CBCLA certification opens up so many doors for personal and professional growth.
It does.
And, you know, something that's been on my mind throughout this discussion
Is this idea of DRI, professional community wisdom,
Okay.
and how important that is for organizations,
Right.
especially in Eastern Europe and Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
The article really emphasizes that.
It does.
How does the CBCLA,
Yeah.
along with other DRI certifications like CBCP and CCRP,
Okay.
contribute to that collective wisdom?
Think of these certifications as building blocks of a shared language and understanding of resilience.
Okay.
Each one represents a deep dive into a specific area of expertise.
Right.
And together, they create a comprehensive body of knowledge
Huh?
that's constantly evolving and being refined by the entire DRI community.
So it's like a collective brain trust,
Yeah.
a network of experts constantly sharing their experiences and best practices.
Exactly, and that shared wisdom is incredibly powerful,
Yeah.
especially in regions facing such unique challenges.
Right.
The DRI community acts as a vital resource for organizations navigating complex situations, offering guidance, support, and a wealth of practical knowledge.
That makes a lot of sense.
It can be the difference between surviving and thriving.
The CBCLA certification isn't just about individual expertise.
Right.
It's about being part of a larger movement toward building a more resilient future,
Absolutely.
especially in regions where it's so critical.
Yeah, it's really important.
Now, it would be great to move beyond the theoretical
Okay.
and explore some real-world examples of how this certification has made a difference.
I think that would be incredibly insightful.
Yeah, seeing these concepts in action can really bring them to life.
Absolutely.
So we'll be back after a quick break to delve into some fascinating case studies and explore the tangible benefits of CBCLA certification in the real world.
Sounds great.
Stay tuned. Welcome back. I'm really excited to hear these real-world examples you mentioned.
Yeah.
I think it's so helpful to see how this certification translates into results.
Me too. Theory is
Yeah.
important, of course, but nothing beats seeing these concepts in action.
Absolutely. So for our first example,
Okay.
let's imagine a large financial institution in Eastern Europe that was working towards achieving the Resilient Enterprise designation. Their internal audits were consistently revealing gaps in their BCM program,
Oh.
and they were struggling to meet the DRI standards.
Yeah, that's a tough spot to be in, especially for a financial institution where resilience is so critical.
What did they do?
They realized they needed to elevate their auditing process.
Okay.
So they decided to invest in CBCLA certification for their lead auditor.
That makes sense. Instead of just patching the holes, they decided to strengthen the entire foundation.
Right.
What impact did that have?
It was a game changer.
Really?
The newly certified auditor brought a whole new level of expertise and insight.
Right.
They were able to identify vulnerabilities that had previously been overlooked,
Wow.
conduct more thorough and comprehensive audits, and provide actionable recommendations that were directly aligned with the Resilient Enterprise criteria.
So the CBCLA certification gave them the tools and knowledge they needed to transform their approach to resilience.
Precisely. And the results were significant.
Wow.
The organization was able to close those critical gaps, strengthen their entire BCM program, and ultimately achieve that coveted Resilient Enterprise designation.
That's a fantastic example of how investing in CBCLA certification can pay off.
It really can.
Do you have any other stories that highlight its impact?
Absolutely. Let's shift our focus now to a critical infrastructure provider in Ukraine.
Okay.
They were facing a very specific challenge,
Okay.
ensuring the resilience of their supply chain in the face of potential disruptions.
Oh, that's interesting. Given the situation in the region, any disruption to their supply chain could have a huge impact.
Exactly. They knew that any disruption to their supply chain could have a ripple effect on essential services.
Supply chain resilience is such a hot topic these days,
It is.
especially with all the global uncertainty we've seen.
It's more critical than ever, and this organization was smart to prioritize it.
Yeah.
They had a CBCLA certified auditor on their team, and this individual was instrumental in developing and implementing a comprehensive supply chain resilience program.
Wow, that's impressive. What did that program look like?
It was a multifaceted approach.
Okay.
They started by identifying their most critical suppliers and assessing their resilience capability.
Their suppliers' resilience.
Yes. Then they diversified their supply sources to reduce their dependence on any single provider.
Smart.
They also established clear communication protocols and developed robust contingency plans in case of disruptions.
So it was about taking a proactive and holistic approach to managing risk.
Exactly. And the CBCLA certified auditor's expertise was essential in guiding this process.
I see.
They ensured that the program was aligned with best practices and international standards, like ISO 22301.
Okay.
They helped the organization think through all the potential scenarios and develop effective mitigation strategies.
I'm guessing it paid off when things got tough.
It absolutely did. When a major disruption impacted their region, this organization was able to maintain its operations without missing a beat. Wow.
They continued providing essential services to their customers even in the midst of a crisis.
That's amazing.
Their proactive approach to supply chain resilience, guided by a CBCLA certified professional, was the key to their success.
These stories really bring home the value of the CBCLA certification.
They do.
It's inspiring to see how it can empower individuals and organizations to build true resilience, even when faced with incredible adversity.
They're great examples of how these principles translate into real-world success. And we're seeing a growing trend of organizations in Eastern Europe and Ukraine recognizing the importance of CBCLA certification and the expertise it brings.
Yeah.
They're realizing that it's not just a nice to have, it's a must-have in today's world.
It's like a ripple effect with knowledge and best practices spreading throughout the region,
I love that analogy.
helping to build a more resilient future for everyone.
It's a collective effort that requires a shared understanding of resilience principles, and that's where the DRI community plays such a vital role.
It sounds like the CBCLA certification is more than just a credential. It is.
It's an entry point into a community of experts who are passionate about making a difference. It's about being part of something bigger than yourself.
That's a great way to put it. It's about joining a network of like-minded professionals who are committed to sharing their knowledge, supporting each other, and working together to build a more resilient world. And that brings us back to those other DRI certifications we mentioned earlier, like CBCP and CCRP.
Okay.
These certifications, combined with the CBCLA, represent a powerful trifecta of knowledge and expertise
That's interesting.
that is essential for success in regions like Eastern Europe and Ukraine.
It sounds like they complement each other, creating a more well-rounded and holistic approach to resilience.
They do.
Could you elaborate on how they work together?
Absolutely. The Certified Business Continuity Professional, or CBCP certification, focuses on the development, implementation, and maintenance of a comprehensive business continuity management program. It equips professionals with the skills and knowledge to identify and assess risks, develop and implement business continuity plans, and conduct training and exercises to ensure organizational preparedness.
So it's like having the blueprint for building a resilient organization.
Exactly. While the CBCP provides the foundation, the Certified Crisis Recovery Professional, or CCRP certification, delves deeper into crisis management,
Okay.
providing professionals with the expertise to effectively respond to and recover from disruptive events.
So it's about being prepared for when the unexpected happens.
Yes. The CCRP equips professionals with the skills to navigate the chaotic and often stressful environment of a crisis, minimizing the impact and ensuring a swift and effective recovery.
I see.
And when you combine the knowledge and skills gained from the CBCP and CCRP with the auditing expertise provided by the CBCLA, you create a powerful synergy
Okay.
that enabled organizations to build and maintain a truly resilient posture.
It's like having a team of specialists working together to cover all the bases of resilience.
Precisely. And that's why these three certifications are so valuable, especially in regions facing unique challenges like Eastern Europe and Ukraine.
Right.
They represent a comprehensive body of knowledge and best practices that are essential for navigating uncertainty and building a more resilient future.
So we've explored the benefits of CBCLA certification, heard inspiring real-world examples, and delved deeper into the value of the DRI professional community wisdom,
Right.
communicated via CBCLA, CBCP, and CCRP.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's shift gears and talk about the certification process itself.
Okay.
For our listeners who might be considering this path, what are the key steps involved in becoming a certified business continuity lead auditor?
I'm happy to break it down. The path to CBCLA certification is a journey of learning and growth, but it's incredibly rewarding.
We'll be back after a short break to walk you through each step of the process, from the prerequisites to the exam and beyond. Welcome back to our deep dive into CBCLA certification. We've covered a lot of ground, but let's get practical. For anyone thinking about pursuing this certification, what does that journey actually look like? What are the steps?
Well, you need a solid foundation.
Yeah.
The DRI recommends at least 2 years of hands-on experience
Okay, at least 2 years.
in business continuity.
So it's not just theoretical knowledge. You need some practical experience to draw on.
Exactly. It's about having real-world experience to think back on.
Makes sense. What comes after those 2 years?
Then you dive into the educational component.
Okay.
You'll need to complete the DRI's CBCLA certification course.
What does that course cover? What can someone expect to learn?
It's a comprehensive program.
Okay.
It digs deep into the principles and practices of business continuity auditing.
Okay.
It covers everything from audit planning and methodology to risk assessment, business impact analysis, and reporting.
Wow.
It's designed to give you a solid understanding of the framework standards, best practices for conducting effective audits.
Sounds intense. Like a boot camp for auditors.
You could say that, but it's all to prepare you for the next step, the CBCLA exam.
Ah, the exam. Is it as tough as it sounds?
It's designed to be challenging. It's not just about memorizing facts. It's about showing you really understand these concepts and principles we've been talking about.
Right.
The exam tests your knowledge across a range of topics, making sure you're fully prepared to be a certified business continuity lead auditor.
So let's say someone passes the exam. What happens then? What does it mean to be a CBCLA?
First off, congratulations.
Yeah?
Achieving CBCLA certification is a big accomplishment, but the learning doesn't stop there. To maintain your certification, you need to earn continuing education credits.
Makes sense. You need to keep learning and growing to stay on top of things.
Exactly. The field is always evolving.
Right.
Yeah.
But beyond just the credential itself, what does it mean to be a CBCLA? What impact can you have?
It's about making a real difference. You can help organizations build resilience, protect their people, assets, reputation.
Yeah.
You become a champion for preparedness, a voice for best practices, a guide for organizations facing uncertainty.
It's about having a positive impact on organizations and on society as a whole.
Absolutely.
That's inspiring.
And it's especially important in regions like Eastern Europe and Ukraine, where the stakes are so high.
Right.
CBCLA certified professionals are uniquely positioned to help organizations build resilience and weather any storm.
So as we wrap up our deep dive, what's the key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
Resilience is not a luxury. It's a necessity in our world today. And the CBCLA certification is a powerful tool to make that happen. It's about knowledge, skills, and commitment to making a difference.
Couldn't agree more. It's been an incredibly insightful journey exploring this valuable certification. For our listeners who want to learn more, where should they go?
The DRI website is a great resource. It has tons of information on CBCLA certification and other credentials and resources related to business continuity and resilience.
We'll include a link in our show notes. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us. We hope you've gained some valuable insights into CBCLA certification and its role in building organizational resilience. Until next time, stay curious, keep learning, and stay resilient.